You know that knot in your stomach when you're nervous? Or maybe that strong gut feeling about a decision.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. We all kind of know those feelings. Today on the deep dive, we're really getting into the science, behind this mind-gut connection. We'll be using Dr. Emeran Mayer's work as our guide.
Mhm.
And our goal, really, is to figure out how this deep link shapes our mood, our thinking, even like how we make choices and our immunity, and importantly, what we can actually do about it.
And what's really amazing right off the bat is this idea Dr. Mayer talks about the second brain.
Right, in the gut.
Yeah, the enteric nervous system. It's so easy to just think, oh, digestion. But it's this huge network of neurons, super active.
Wow.
And it's constantly talking to our main brain.
Right.
With a huge impact on our emotions, how we handle stress, even, our thoughts. So yeah, a healthy gut.
Yeah.
It really does seem to help create a healthier mind.
Okay, so let's unpack that communication. How exactly do the gut and brain, talk to each other so well?
Well, the main highway is this big nerve, the vagus nerve.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like a direct phone line. Constant chatter, both ways.
Yeah.
Millions of signals zipping back and forth all day long.
Urians.
Yeah. So it's definitely not just the brain bossing the gut around.
Yeah.
The gut has a direct line back, feeding information that, well, it shapes how we feel and think.
Yeah.
That's a really key point.
So it really is a two-way street then. If my stomach's acting up, my brain knows, and the other way around too.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
If you've got gut issues, maybe some bloating, discomfort, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
that message travels up the vagus nerve to your brain. And that might show up as like feeling stressed or anxious, and then flip it. When your brain's under pressure, you're really anxious about something.
An interview maybe.
Perfect example. Those signals go down to the gut. And that's when you might get cramps or just that awful churning feeling. It just shows, our gut processes emotions too, not just lunch. And that affects feelings, thinking, decisions. That interview anxiety, the cold hands, fast heart, the stomach churn. That's the gut-brain axis in action right there.
Okay, this is where it gets super interesting for me. We can't talk gut without talking about, well, all those tiny things living inside us, the microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly, and why is it so important?
It's incredible, isn't it? The gut microbiome. It's basically this huge ecosystem. We're talking like 100 trillion bacteria living in our digestive system.
100 trillion? Wow.
Yeah, it's a massive number. And like any ecosystem, you've got your good guys and your, let's say, less helpful guys.
Okay.
The good bacteria, they're crucial. They help digest food, clear out toxins, even make some vitamins for us. But then if the balance tips and you get too many of the other kind,
Problems.
yeah, that can contribute to inflammation, feeling tired all the time, even mental stress. The big insight here is, we're not just us, we're walking ecosystems. And the health of that ecosystem, it hugely impacts our mental and emotional state.
And these tiny bacteria are directly linked to how we feel, our mood, our mind. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. They're deeply tied to our mood, our immune system. They might even play a role in things like anxiety and depression. When the microbiome's happy and balanced, we generally feel more energetic, calmer, sharper mentally. But it's delicate. Things like a diet heavy in junk food, or using antibiotics too much, or just chronic stress, they can really throw it off balance.
What happens then?
Well, it can damage the gut lining. That leads to more inflammation system-wide, sort of throughout the body, and that hits our mood, our energy, how clearly we think, how well we make decisions. Those bad bacteria, they often make stuff, byproducts, that trigger inflammation right there in the gut lining.
And that signals the brain?
Exactly. Those inflammatory signals can shoot right up the vagus nerve.
Dr. Mayer calls it a virtual organ, right? Because it's so complex and, responsive.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It almost acts like another organ, given everything it does. And how it develops is fascinating, too. Starts right at birth.
Birth? Really?
Oh, yeah. Things like how you were delivered, breastfeeding or not, your first foods, the environment you grew up in, even stress levels early on. They all shape it.
So different childhoods could lead to really different gut setups.
Absolutely. Imagine a kid growing up with, say, lots of natural diverse foods, low stress. That builds a strong gut-brain system. Compare that to maybe lots of antibiotics, tons of processed food, constant worry. You can see how that might set things up differently down the line.
Okay, so it's definitely this two-way street. A troubled gut can mess with your head, and a stressed mind can mess up your stomach.
That bidirectional thing is totally key. If your gut health isn't great, Yeah, it could affect your thinking, emotions, even memory. And like we said, mental stress has a very real physical effect on the gut.
And it's especially crucial during childhood, you were saying.
Yeah, because that's when both the gut and the brain are developing like crazy. Delivery method, breastfeeding, those first foods, the environment, they're all laying the groundwork for the microbiome and the brain's wiring.
In those early days, they can have really long-lasting effects.
Yeah, sadly it seems so. Kids who end up with a less diverse microbiome early on, they might have a higher chance of anxiety, mood issues, maybe even attention problems later. But the flip side is a stable, healthy childhood that supports a good gut. That seems to build resilience. You know that study with the mice?
Vaguely, remind me.
They messed up the mice's gut bacteria, and they started showing anxiety-like behaviors. But then when they restored the healthy bacteria,
The anxiety went away.
it reversed. Yeah, it's pretty compelling stuff. Really makes you wonder about us humans, doesn't it?
Definitely. And what about emotional trauma? How does that fit in?
Oh, that's a big one. Trauma, like abuse, neglect, or just living with constant fear or stress, it hits deep. It doesn't just affect the brain. It can physically weaken the gut lining.
Weaken the lining.
It can lead to something people call leaky gut. Basically, the connections between the cells lining your gut get looser.
Okay.
So things that shouldn't get out, like bits of bacteria, undigested food, can leak into the bloodstream. That triggers inflammation, and those inflammatory molecules can reach the brain.
Wow. So trauma is stored in the body, literally.
It really seems that way. It's
Yeah.
not just in your head. But there is good news here, too.
Okay, good. What's that?
Well, healing the gut,
Yeah.
focusing on making it healthier, that can actually lead to improvements mentally.
Yeah.
Better clarity, feeling calmer, maybe even more creative.
So it adds another dimension to thinking about mood problems.
Exactly. Instead of just looking at mental health alone, thinking about the gut as, a potential player, it opens up new avenues for feeling better overall.
Which brings us right to something we do every single day, eating. How directly does our diet impact this whole gut-brain thing?
Oh, massively. Directly. What you choose to eat day in and day out has this powerful immediate effect on who's living in your gut, your microbiome. And like we've been saying, that then ripples out to your mood, your focus, your brain health in general.
So what about the typical, maybe less than ideal diet? Lots of processed stuff.
Yeah, that kind of diet,
Yeah.
lots of burgers, pizza, fried things, sugary sweets, sodas.
Yeah.
It's basically paradise for the bad bacteria.
Ah, okay.
It helps them thrive and unfortunately pushes out the good guys. Plus, that food is usually low in fiber, which the good bacteria need, and high in sugar and chemicals that can actually damage the gut lining.
Damage the lining and then send bad signals.
You got it. Inflammatory signals head up to the brain. And the result, you might feel irritable, tired, get that brain fog, and it could even contribute to feeling more anxious or depressed over time.
Okay, that paints a pretty clear picture of what maybe not to eat all the time. So what are the gut and brain superfoods then?
Think whole, unprocessed, fiber-rich. That's the key. Things like pulses, fine, beans, lentils.
Love lentils.
Yeah. Lots of different colorful fruits and vegetables. Yogurt, the kind with live cultures, pickles, other fermented foods. Even spices like turmeric can be fantastic.
Why those specifically?
Because they act like fuel for your good bacteria. They help them multiply, strengthen that gut lining we talked about, and send positive anti-inflammatory signals up to the brain.
Okay.
And we should also talk about prebiotics and probiotics.
Right, I hear those terms a lot. What's the difference again?
So prebiotics are basically food for your good bacteria. They're usually types of fiber found in things like onions, garlic, bananas, oatmeal, leafy greens. Our bodies don't digest it, but the good gut bugs love it.
Got it. Food for the good guys and
Right.
probiotics.
Probiotics are the actual live beneficial bacteria themselves. You find them in yogurt, like I said, also buttermilk, kimchi, sauerkraut, those kinds of fermented foods.
Kimchi. Okay, I like kimchi.
Then keep eating it.
All right.
They directly add troops to your good bacteria army.
So even just shifting your diet a bit could make a real difference, you'd notice.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Someone eating sugary cereal and processed snacks all day versus someone who starts adding more whole grains, veggies, fruit, maybe some yogurt or pickles.
Yeah.
Over time, the difference in their gut bacteria balance could be huge. And that could translate into feeling better emotionally, maybe sharper memory, better focus. It's significant. It's like Dr. Mayer says, your food can be your medicine. You might not need pricey supplements if you're just more mindful about what you're eating. It really drives home that idea.
Yeah.
Food builds your body, yeah, but it's also building your thoughts and feelings.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly to something else. Many of us experience that gut feeling. Intuition. Is that just woo-woo, or is there science there too?
It's definitely not woo-woo. It's a very real biological response. It comes straight from that gut-brain system we've been mapping out.
No.
Well, when you're facing something new, or maybe a stressful decision, that second brain in your gut, the enteric nervous system, it can react fast. Sometimes even before your conscious brain fully clocks what's happening.
Faster than the main brain.
It seems so, in some ways. It's tapping into this huge reservoir of past experiences, emotions, even kind of primitive threat detection systems to send these immediate signals upwards.
So it's like our gut keeps an emotional database or something.
That's a really good way to think about it, yeah. All your life experiences, especially those really strong emotional ones from childhood, maybe even trauma, they get sort of stored or imprinted in this gut-brain network.
Okay.
Then, when you hit a new situation, these old patterns can get triggered, and boom, there's your gut feeling.
Can you give an example?
Think about, like, a soldier or maybe a firefighter in a super high-stress moment. They have to make split-second calls, right?
Right. Life or death sometimes.
Exactly. They're often not logically working through every option. They're running on instinct, on deeply learned experiences. Those are gut decisions. And often, especially in those high-stakes emotional situations, they turn out to be pretty spot on.
There's that saying, right? Your gut often knows the answer before your brain has finished the question.
Perfectly put. It captures that speed and often, the wisdom in those feelings. But, and this is important for those gut instincts to be reliable.
What do you need?
You need a healthy gut system.
Hey.
It needs to be balanced, well connected to the brain. If you've got chronic inflammation down there or your microbiome is way out of whack,
It can mess with the signals.
exactly, it can distort those gut feelings, lead to bad decisions, or just feeling confused and anxious.
Yeah.
So it's less like a sixth sense and more like deep biological intelligence. We just need to learn to listen to it properly.
Okay. Now, stress. It's everywhere. It sounds like it's a major villain in this story, really disrupting that gut-brain balance.
Oh, absolutely. Chronic stress is just brutal for our health overall. And it hits both the brain and the gut hard.
How does it affect the gut specifically?
When you're chronically stressed, your body pumps out stress hormones like cortisol
Right.
and cortisol. It can directly mess with the balance of your gut bacteria. It can weaken that protective gut lining, slow down digestion, and just ramp up inflammation in your gut.
And that leads to...
Well, it can show up as things like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, gas, in really bad cases, even ulcers.
And just taking, say, an antacid or something isn't fixing the root cause.
Exactly. Medication might help manage the symptoms, sure, but it often doesn't touch the underlying stress and emotional component or the gut health issue itself. That's why mind-body approaches are so important here.
Like what, for example?
Things like yoga, meditation, even just simple deep breathing exercises. They work wonders for calming the brain down.
And that helps the gut.
Yeah, it improves how the gut's own nervous system works. It lowers those stress hormones, which can help the good bacteria flourish again, improve digestion, and lead to a clearer mind, too. It's all connected.
You also brought up mindful eating earlier. What does that actually mean in practice, and how does it help?
Mindful eating is really about paying full attention when you eat, slowing down, noticing the tastes, the textures.
Not just shoveling it in while watching TV.
Exactly. Or scrolling on your phone. When we rush, when we're distracted, our digestion just doesn't work as well. We miss the signals that tell us we're full.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. But mindful eating lets your gut do its job properly, digest, absorb nutrients. And it also helps emotionally, making you feel more present, more connected. It just highlights again how stress, emotions, the gut, they're all intertwined. Finding balance is key.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what are some practical, everyday things we can actually do to nurture this connection, to get a happier gut and mind?
Right, the actionable stuff. Well, first, like we just said, try eating more slowly, more mindfully. Really savor it. Let your body digest properly and tell your brain when it's had enough.
Okay, slow down. What else?
Second, consciously bring in more of those probiotic foods. Yogurt, pickles, kimchi, sauerkraut, and lots of fiber from veggies, fruits, beans, lentils. Feed those good guys. Strengthen that gut wall.
Probiotics and fiber. Got it.
Third, find some way to de-stress daily. Even 5 minutes of deep breathing, a short walk, some stretching, meditation if that's your thing. Anything to calm the system down, lower inflammation, boost your mood.
Daily stress reduction. Makes sense.
Fourth, and don't underestimate these good sleep and regular movement. Physical activity.
Sleep and exercise. How do they fit in?
They're crucial for repair. Both brain and gut repair happen during sleep. And exercise helps maintain a healthy microbiome and boosts brain function too. It's all part of the package.
So it sounds like building a healthy routine around these things, eating well, managing stress, sleeping, moving, can really pay off for both mind and body.
Absolutely. Think of them as the foundations.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do everything perfectly overnight. Just start small. Eat a bit slower today. Add one more vegetable. Take 5 deep breaths. Go for a walk. Small steps add up.
So the big takeaway here really seems to be look after your gut and you're looking after your mind. It's that simple and that profound.
Exactly. The health of your gut touches, well, almost everything. Your happiness, mood, energy, immunity, your emotional strength. It's all linked.
And the really hopeful part is that we can influence it through diet, stress management, sleep, just listening to our bodies.
That's the empowering message, isn't it? You have a lot more control than you might think.
It really drives home that idea that true health, true well-being, it really does start from the inside out. And maybe recognizing that inner strength, that gut health, makes facing everything else life throws at us feel, well, a little easier.
Well said.
Thank you so much for diving deep into this with us today. And for all of you listening, we really hope this inspires you to take maybe just one small step towards better gut health. Try eating mindfully. Find a way to de-stress that works for you. There's always more to learn, and we hope this conversation sparks that journey for you.